Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Rebecca, would you please call the roll?
Flournoy.
Here.
Hallie.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Gandy.
Here.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Pardon our construction that's going on. We're also noticing it's a little empty in here, so the echo is very, very loud, so we'll tone it down tonight. Before we move to our consent agenda, Council, any additions or changes to this evening's agenda?
Your Honor, can we move the Dexter street closure to after our consent agenda?
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll set that in before resolutions. Okay, anything else, Council? Nothing. We'll move to our consent agenda. We have approval of the minutes from the July 8th council meeting, approval of the July 12th payroll of $127,907.91. We have acceptance of the Wayfinding Commission minutes, the Library Board minutes, and beautification minutes. We have a resolution of employment in the Water Department for a distribution position, and also a pay increase in the Water Department for meter reader. We have approval of liquor license for the Asian Fa Bistro and Somm Wines, and approval of claims in the amount of $1,147,145.36, of which Alliant Energy $260,902.15, which is our 40% deposit on downtown streetlights. And also PKG Construction of $630,895. So any questions, Council, regarding those consent agenda items? Okay, if not, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Anderson,
Second.
second by Gandy. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson.
Yes.
Gandy.
Yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Halley, if you want to talk to us about the Dexter Street closing.
Yeah, is Katie Six here? Yes, come on up, Katie. You can tell them better than I can. Dexter is having,
I brought you all a flyer.
all right, great.
Have a visual. Thank you.
So Dexter Laundry is celebrating 125 years.
That's correct.
Yep. So on August 10th, it's a Saturday, you're gonna have a celebration.
Thank you.
Thank you. And are just requesting that 23rd Street be closed from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You can tell us a little bit more about the event.
Well, we're celebrating 125 years of being in business here in Fairfield. And our last open house, I think I was telling you, was in 1950.
Wow.
And we looked it up, and we had 3,300 people attend. So I have no idea of the extent of our event. Right now we have approximately 500 to 600 of just employees that work at Dexter and former employees that are coming. But we are opening it up to the public. We're gonna have a free meal, just like hot dogs, chips, soda, water. We're also going to be having a face painting for the kids. We're having live music from the 34th Army Band is gonna be coming in, playing at our event. We have a drone that is gonna be taking pictures of aerial pictures and making a video of our event along with a GoPro. We're gonna have horse and buggy rides because the Dexter horse. So we'll be doing that. So what we're doing is our plan is to have it at our plant, but Dexter Apache Holdings owns the soccer field as well. And so North 23rd Street runs right between just Dexter and the soccer field. So our goal was to shut that down during the event because our horse and carriage rides will be in the soccer field. We'll have tents set up over there. We'll have kids face painting over there. We're having some kennel corn that will be sent out with little 125-year Dexter bags. We'll be giving out prizes, door prizes, that sort of thing. So our goal is to shut that so it's just safe for the community more so. And since that thoroughfare between the West Grimes and the train tracks is basically Dexter and the soccer field that Dexter will be utilizing that day. We're just hoping to be able to shut it down so that we'd have that whole area available for the Dexter And it's open to the public. We're going to do factory tours every 10 minutes, guided factory tours. So we have not opened our plant, like I said, to the public since 1950. So there's a lot of new changes and exciting things happening. And so we want to share it with Dexter. And earlier in the day, we're also going to be, which I just found out, having our ribbon cutting grand opening of the new Dexter laundromat here in town too. So that's going to be earlier in the day, like 11 to 1. And then from 1 to 4, we'll be at the Dexter Laundry celebrating that. So our goal was to maybe do it around noon so that we could get everything set up, because we'll have tents being brought in. We're having tents and tables and chairs and stuff brought in. So I brought all of you a card and an invite. So
All right, so
Yeah.
you'd like the closure start at noon?
if possible,
Okay.
yes.
So we'll modify our motion. Public Safety and Transportation Committee met earlier, and we're recommending to go ahead and do this closure. We want to close it on Stone near 18th Street, because that's where a vehicle would be able to turn around. We don't want them to come down Stone thinking they can get across the railroad tracks and then get stuck. So we'll close a section of Stone to 23rd,
Okay.
and come up to 23rd at Grimes. So noon to 4 o'clock, is that late enough?
Might want to be 4:30. It ends at 4.
So you have a little time to- okay.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, want to just say noon to
Noon to
5?
five.
Noon to 5? All right, so I'll make
Great.
that motion to close 23rd Street from noon to 5 on Saturday, August 10th, from Grimes to close to 18th Street on Stone.
Second.
Okay, motion by Hallie, second by Anderson. Any discussion? Just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're certainly, very happy about the property that was finished where the laundromat is. It's just really has added a lot to the look of the city, and we really appreciate that. And obviously, the great legacy that the Dexter Company has in this community is something that we want to celebrate along with you. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming this evening. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, now we'll move to our resolution action items and ordinances. First item is a change order for step 1. We're still on step 1. So Steve, I understand you'll tell us what we're looking at there.
Yeah, so this is the change order related to the engineering amendment that you approved 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when I was here last.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we've now, since that time, we have updated drawings and specifications for the additional work. And this is work for the contractor that did the golf course section, which is Langman Construction. And I believe you have copies of the change order. However, it's just a list of bid items. So in summary, what that work includes is moving 2 existing service laterals that are currently on the old sewer, switch them over to the new sewer. Abandon 8 manholes from just west of D Street to Park Street, which is primarily across the golf course. Connecting all the sewer mains, intersecting the new sewer between just west of D Street all the way over to Park Street, and connect those to the new sewer. And providing a drain, now we got to jump down to just north of Highway 34. Providing a drain for the existing sewers no longer used on step 1, which prevents the I&I that collects in those sewers from going down to your wastewater treatment plant. Currently, that's where it's going now. So this would remove that I&I from the system.
Okay, thank you. And then just for everyone's understanding, the change order is within the contingency budget for this phase of the project. Okay. Any questions, council, regarding the requested change order?
Steve, does any of this disrupt the greens at the golf course?
It might disrupt one hole.
One hole?
I think I've been in contact with Melanie. This whole thing has developed so quickly.
Okay.
We have verbal approval from the contractor to do the change order. I just sent him the final documents this morning for him to sign, send it back. I'll sign it and forward it on to you for you to sign it. It still does need RD approval, and I need to get a copy to DNR. I don't anticipate the DNR one to be an issue at all, because a lot of it is work that was already shown in the plans for the owner to do.
And the country club is aware that the work is,
I have not specifically contacted
No.
them.
Yes,
Sean has talked with them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council, any other additional questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the change order 5 for step 1.
Move to approve.
Moved by Rasmussen,
Second?
second by Thompson. Discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Hallie?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, council, we have a resolution of support for the finances that we contribute as a city to Area 15 Regional Planning Commission. There are a number of services that they provide to the city over the course of a year. The charges for that are 48 cents per person within the city. That's a total of $4,542.72. So would entertain a motion to approve the financial support for 2019-2020 for Area 15.
So moved.
Moved by Gandy, second by Flournoy. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next, council, we have a resolution to approve and authorize a loan agreement for the issuance of $775,000 in general obligation capital loan notes. This is the final step in this process, so you will be doing the borrowing after this. You will also be approving the tax exemption certificate in your action for approval. So, any questions regarding the final approval? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Thompson,
Second.
second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Thompson?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Hallie?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, council, we have the 5 ordinances that you've been considering that changes a lot of the municipal fee structures, and this resolution that you're going to consider establishes the rates that is referenced in each of those different areas. So the resolution then would be to approve the changes in all of those different rate structure areas. And you have a list of those in the resolution. So would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Anderson. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Hallie?
Yes.
Thank you. And then next we'll then run through the third and final reading of each of these ordinances. Each will have a public hearing portion. So for this first one, ordinance 1176, consideration of amending the municipal code for miscellaneous water fees. We'll open the public hearing and ask if there's any public comment. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for approval to move the ordinance through its final reading.
So moved.
Moved by Thompson.
Second.
Second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Next would be ordinance 1177, and this is amending the code relating to repairs of the sanitary sewer connections. This is also third and final reading. We'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's any public comment. Not seeing any, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve through the final reading.
So moved.
Moved by Anderson, second by Flournoy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Motion passes. Ordinance 1178, this would be amending the code for the blocking of streets during snow removal. So we'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's any public comment. Not seeing any, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve this ordinance through the final reading.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Gandy, second by Anderson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. 2 more. Ordinance 1179, and this would be amending certain municipal fees pertaining to rental property, mobile home parks, lodging homes, home occupation, and demolition permits. We'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's any. Yes.
My name is Connie Boyer. I do own a bed and breakfast, and my understanding from the last reading that it was $100 per building plus $30 per room after that. And I know that Doug had brought up an issue similar to my property, that it would be nice if that was considered one property at $100 and then $30 per room. A few years ago when it changed, I used to pay $50 and then it quadrupled to $200, and this would increase it even more. You know, these aren't high-income businesses, and but I think they're a business that Fairfield needs. I mean, our property actually is up for sale, so I don't know if, you know, the next owner will continue the bed and breakfast, but I think Fairfield would be nice if it was continued, so I'm kind of being proactive for them and hoping that maybe there was a reconsideration between the last meeting and this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kat, how many businesses in this class do we have in Fairfield? We've lost some bed and breakfasts over the years, so is this the only bed and breakfast in?
I think she is now.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
As far as I
Okay.
know.
yeah.
okay. I guess,
One thing I wanted to point out, there were a couple changes made to this ordinance, and I wanted to bring it up now because of her comment. There was an error in the way this had been presented on the last two readings. Is the lodging house annual fee is currently $80. I had made a typo in the ordinance, and so you'll see, next page, Jason. The highlighted is the stuff that has changed, and you'll see that I've corrected it to $80. Not related to her comment is, we also had a question about better defining the term unit. In long-term rentals, the unit is defined in our rental housing inspection code as a dwelling that has a kitchen and a bedroom. In the lodging houses or the short-term rentals, it has a definition of unit, but I defined it a little bit better, saying a unit is a defined space with two methods of egress within a dwelling, available for rent as a standalone item, also referred to as a guest unit. And elsewhere in the lodging house section, there's a limit of the number of guest units a building can rent. I believe bed and breakfast is 4 or 6. There's a couple different, and they use the term guest unit in there. So I took these fees and referenced the same guest unit as used earlier. So I clarified that.
okay, thank you, Melanie. And Connie, how many units do you have that you're renting currently?
Well, there's 3 in the house,
Right.
but we do have a 2-bedroom apartment above the garage.
So have we dealt with the buildings themselves? Melanie, is it considered operationally one business as to answer that building question, the separate buildings?
Yeah. What we have proposed is that it is per roof. So she would have, because there's 2 roofs, the first one would be an $80 fee plus two $30 fees for the house, and then 80 plus 2 30s for the second one.
Because it's 2-bedroom?
No, because it's two buildings.
Because
Two
it's 2 buildings.
They're on the same property.
Right.
We talked about that particular situation, and in her case, where the buildings are right next to each other, they're right next to it. It's not extra time, but they are actually on 2 separate parcels. So we went back a couple different ways, because what would you'd have someone who says, okay, I've got a building on this side of town and one on this side of town. It's the same corporation, so they need to be the same. There was just a lot of, we looked into using parcel, address, water meter, all of those things, and there was nothing that would, short of using per corporation, that would better define her particular situation as one building.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't decide something else, but we did look into those options.
Okay. So that's a unique situation, that it is a separate parcel. That's-
I didn't think that it was,
Yeah,
but it does have two different addresses.
right,
But I don't
Okay.
use two different addresses.
okay. Council, any comments on this portion of the ordinance?
Two addresses. There were two files.
Can we grab that?
Connie, do you know for insurance purposes, are there two buildings listed on your insurance policy?
Yes, there are. But we were just talking, it's only one parcel, but yes, there are two
Okay,
buildings listed
so
on my
like
policy.
when they list it does list the two separate buildings.
Yes. So,
Okay.
There's one parcel, not two?
It is one
it's one
parcel.
parcel. I'm 99.9% sure.
But
So-
it is two addresses
But
and
it's
two
two
wide
addresses,
meters.
that is correct, yeah.
Okay,
And I just like to say I appreciate you looking at it different ways. So, if this is to go forward like this, then,
okay.
we have to look forward, so.
Okay, council, if there isn't any desire to amend, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance through the final reading. I will close the public hearing first. Close the public hearing and then ask for a motion to approve through the final reading.
So moved.
Table.
Moved by Thompson,
Second.
second by Rasmussen. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Also, ordinance 1180, this would be amending municipal code for fire service fees. We'll open the public hearing on this ordinance at this time and ask if there's any public comment. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve through the final reading.
So moved.
Moved by Anderson,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Next, council, in mayor's report, the Beautification Commission will add a member for an opening that they have. Meredith Seamson has agreed to join and has met with the Beautification Commission and would like to serve a term. So entertain a motion to approve Meredith Seamson for the Beautification Commission.
So moved.
Moved by Hallie,
Second.
second by Toohill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. And I also just wanted to mention, council, that we had last week a meeting of the committee, the community committee that's meeting with the comprehensive plan group, Confluence out of Des Moines, and they presented a lot of their work to us at this point. They have a pre-final draft that they presented. And, a lot of it is really based on the community feedback that they have received. There's a lot of content in it. We gave our feedback, but very soon it's going to be coming back. And we want to have a meeting again with the city council and with planning and zoning. And I just want to encourage you, when you get it, to go through it line by line, because this is a document that is going to serve the city for the next 20 years. They have proposed a lot of ideas and content there. I just want to make sure that this is in line with everything that we are thinking, and certainly if there are any glaring things that are missing, to make sure that they're in there. So just kind of a heads up. I expect maybe sometime in mid to late August we will get that, but we'll get it out ahead of time. Probably take 3 weeks or so to schedule a meeting with the council, so do anticipate that. So we'll move down to our committee and board reports. First will be Property Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Property Committee met on July 15th, last Monday. The meeting began at 6 o'clock. We had a number of participants. Myself, the chair, Katie Anderson, a member, Tom Toohill, a member, Michael Haley, council member, as noted in the report, Josh Larrabee, FIDA Executive Director, Aaron Koiker, our City Administrator, Melanie Carlson, our City Engineer, John Morrissey, our City Attorney, and Eric Anderson, a citizen and also Katie Anderson's husband. We had 3 issues, 3 points of discussion. First was homeowners Katie and Eric Anderson sought a solution to baseballs being hit from the nearby Little League field where they live and striking their property fence. and also landing on their property. After the discussion with a number of the parties present, the committee and the Andersons came to a proposed solution that the committee will recommend that the city adopt. The solution is that in exchange for the Andersons maintaining or upgrading 2 small areas of city property adjacent to their current property, the city will deed its interest in those 2 small land areas to the Andersons. And the committee, with Katie Anderson abstaining, voted unanimously to support that particular solution. Second issue, or second point of discussion, had to do with the issue of the city, or sanitary sewer dedication. The committee discussed the matter with the city engineer and the city attorney, and the committee voted unanimously to recommend that the city accept the sanitary sewer and associated easements. Third point of discussion, the committee discussed the issue of the wastewater treatment plant annexation with city officials, including the city engineer, and we voted unanimously to recommend to the Planning and Zoning Commission the annexation of the wastewater treatment plant to the reef addition to the city of Fairfield. Our meeting adjourned at 7 o'clock. So we have 3 proposals, 3 recommendations to the city council. And I think I'd probably want to move on each separately. First would be, the committee has recommended that we adopt a proposal as we set out in paragraph 1. We're speaking about Katie and Eric Anderson's property. Again, Mrs. Anderson didn't abstain for that particular discussion and from voting. But we recommend that we adopt the proposal, as we discussed earlier, as I mentioned earlier. Would I need a motion?
You can make the motion
Okay,
for
so
your...
the motion on behalf of the committee, is that we, and we've taken steps in this direction, that the city and the Andersons work to have 2 small pieces of property deeded from the city to the Andersons in exchange for them maintaining and actually, to some extent, developing the property. That's our motion.
Can you explain how that solves the fence
Yep.
issue?
So on the north side of our property, we have a privacy fence that is regularly hit and scaled by the children using the ball fields.
Scaled.
And we have pets in the backyard that, one, I have fear of being hit by the balls. Pets that can't be brought in, specifically chickens.
Right.
When baseball is going on, our youngest son is not allowed to play outdoors on his trampoline for fear of being hit, and our dogs are not allowed outside. So our proposal was, and this will actually still occur somewhat on city property, but is to plant trees or shrubs, and I'm utilizing Michael and his tree knowledge to pick the appropriate ones and care for them and water them until they're established. Hopefully something that grows
So it's
relatively quickly.
a second level of barrier.
A barrier,
Okay.
And that will hopefully be brushy and big at some point,
Right.
probably not in my lifetime.
Right.
And then the second section of property is on the east side of our house. There is, I call it a thicket, there's brambles, there's an intense level of poison ivy growing in a set of land that really nobody claims. We don't care for it because it's not our property, but the ball field doesn't care for it because they don't need to use it. We would like to landscape that also with the mindset of kind of barrier bushes type things, but to the tune of well over $1,000, and we didn't want to make that investment until we either had a long-term lease or an investment in that property. So on the east side and the north side, we're kind of building barriers to the residential part of the land there.
And
Thank you.
the poison ivy area is a small patch. I mean, we're not talking a plot of land or anything. I mean, it's a few feet wide by 20 feet long or something like that is all. And it's just overgrown completely.
We had accidentally cleared a tree out of there not knowing it was ours. It was one that had emerald ash. So we had already done a little work in there and mistakenly, but it was a nuisance tree, so it's gone.
Okay. Good. Everyone, council understand what the proposal is then? Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second to approve the?
I'll second.
Second by Toohill. Any other questions or discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Anderson.
Abstain.
Okay. The motion passes. Second motion.
Second motion is as mentioned, the committee discussed whether the city should issue the sanitary sewer dedication, and we voted unanimously to recommend that the city accept the sanitary sewer and associated easements.
We'll bring that back to council at another time,
So,
more official documents.
so is there a motion that we should be making now at this point? All right. So this is, as far as a motion is concerned for the city to take action, that's going to be tabled until we have further information, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
You'll need
All right.
a resolution to accept the dedication deed.
Okay. Okay, so the city,
And we're talking multiple dedication deeds, or is it?
It's the sanitary sewer that was put in for the new industrial park on 227th.
Oh, okay.
So it's 800 feet of sanitary sewer or something in those terms.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that will come back, and then the annexation issue, I'm sure, comes back also, because that'll have to go through planning and zoning first.
okay, so we're just, so the property committee has just made one motion this evening and the others are being tabled for further information. All right.
Right.
That's our report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have a public safety and transportation report.
We met this evening at 6 o'clock. Of our action items, we've already handled the Dexter Street closure request. The other street closure request is for Ragbri, Fairfield Ragbri 2019, coming up this Thursday. The streets are, there it is, the same map that I showed you guys at the last meeting. Just want to close those downtown streets. All of them will be closing as per the request on Wednesday, the 24th at 3 o'clock. Except for Burlington Avenue, we'll try to keep that one open until 5 p.m. So we need to bring in the porta pots, the beverage garden tent, all that stuff has to be brought in and unloaded. So we want to start the afternoon prior to Ragbri. And then they'll remain closed until, I'm saying 6 a.m. Friday the 26th is when the wastewater crew intends to come in and start removing the porta pots. I believe most everything else will be, I know the stage will be gone by then, and the Ragbri merchandise, and all the vendors will be gone. The beverage garden tent there near the intersection of Court and Burlington, if it's not gone, we'll try to move it over so we can open Court. But we want to open, we don't want to open a street that doesn't allow people to then exit. So we'll reopen as much as we can, most likely the streets around the square late that night or early morning Friday, once we've cleaned up. But then some of them will remain closed until the, where it says Kaibo's there on Broadway between 2nd and Main and between Court and B. Those will remain closed to traffic. Thank you, Jason. And there's one more Kaibo. It's on Court between Burlington and Briggs, over by Sweet and Saucy. Up to the left. There you go. So that will remain closed as well because the porta pots, we learned this from last time, they are best serviced when they're back to back in the middle of the street. Kind of leaves room for things, but doesn't leave room for cars to travel. So those will be closed until the morning, until they can be removed. And then additionally, we'd like to block off the parking lot that was recently cleared by our Valiant Police Department for the long-term parking that we switched to no longer long-term parking many months ago. They're at the intersection of Broadway and B. Yep, that's the one. So it's going to have a threefold purpose. It's the shuttle stop for the east shuttle route. It's the staging area for the sanitation and sewer crew, and it's a parking for the entertainment support vehicles. So we'd like to have that closed down as well.
So, Michael, will you make a motion then to
Yes.
request those street closures?
Yep. I move to approve the street closure request from Fairfield Ragbri 2019.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Anderson. Any discussion now? Is the steampunk Pope going to be directing traffic, or?
Probably not directing traffic, but I'll get to him in my Ragbri update.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. I had to get something in there about him.
Yeah, can't have a meeting with that. All right. Street sign ordinance will come to us in a future meeting as a proposed ordinance amendment. But this came up, we talked about this at the last meeting. The solution is that the city ordinance for street signage will be amended such that people may install private property signage, but it can't look the same as city signage. So it can't be green with white lettering. That's the official signage look. And this was what other cities do to allow people to name lanes and alleyways and whatnot. You can do that, but just you have to have a different look so that you're not confused with an official city street. And a lot of it's for safety. If somebody were in an accident and they look up and they see the name of an alley and it looks very official and they tell dispatch that's where they are and we have no idea what they're talking about, that's not going to help the situation. So this other, they can do whatever colors they want as long as it's not a green background with white lettering. So that'll come back maybe at the next meeting. We're not sure. There's such a busy schedule, but we've got Wendy Dixon on the case, so you never know. And the Gear Avenue speed limit, there's no motion on that. Besides, we could authorize the city personnel to work with the county personnel on this. We had a couple guests at our meeting tonight. We had Scott Klein, county engineer, and Daryl Hamilton, county supervisor, who seem open and eager to working with the city. The reason that it has to be a city-county partnership out there is the south side of Gear Avenue is city limits, the north side is county, so anything that's done has to be mirrored. But this is not the set idea. This is kind of a conversation starter that I came up with. So I'll make a motion just saying, let's authorize our city personnel to interface with the county personnel, come up with a solution to bring back to committee, bring back to council.
Okay, motion by Hallie to encourage the cooperation between city and county on speed limits for Gear Avenue.
Second.
Second by Gandy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you.
We had one other item that didn't make it on the agenda, was the schedule. Melanie, is there still time to approve that at the next meeting? The Highway 1 schedule? Because it's not on here as an attachment, so.
Each meeting will be set up by the council kind of anyway.
Okay, all right. So we'll hold off on that one. That's it.
Ragbri update. I'm sorry, let's do our administrative report first.
Okay.
Aaron?
Just wanted to let you know what I've been a little bit focusing on, or actually updating. The downtown street lighting, we have made a down payment for the street lighting project, and the contracts have been signed with the contractors according to our representative from Alliant Energy. Still hasn't given me a timeline as far as when they're going to start working, but they will be sending money, get sent money here tomorrow, so it should start in the near future. Been working with Steve Squires, Piper Jaffray, working with our finances to utilize the cash that we have on hand to improve our interest rate on what we're getting from the cash that we have on hand. Currently, we're making a small amount of money just on the checking account, but if we plan a little bit better, we could probably make, or we will make better interest rates and gain money on the money that we have on hand rather than having to levy for it. And I spoke with Cole O'Donnell today. They've received one proposal for a wage survey through government HR. He and I have done some discussion as far as where we wanted to have or what the comparables we would like to have as far as cities. We're going to set some more definitive guidelines for a GovHR to work with those guidelines so we could have a good wage survey. And the cost is actually going to be a little bit less as far as we can tell right now. It's instead of about around $10,000, it's going to be more like $6,500 for the city of Fairfield. So I'll have that proposal for our next council meeting.
Thanks, Aaron. And the funds that you're speaking about with Travis are basically the carried funds that we have in general fund at this point.
General fund, water, sewer, our TIF dollars, any funds that we have just sitting in our checking account.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions for Aaron at this time? And then we'll move to our RAGBRAI report.
All right, RAGBRAI's coming Thursday, July 25th.
Ready or not?
Ready or not, I think we are ready. So we're getting there. Just want to give a shout out to a few city personnel who've really gone above and beyond. Most of these people were involved in the planning starting in February, which is when the committees start to meet. A lot of them were repeats who had helped in 2013. So I just want to shout out to Sean Worley, Wastewater Department, has been in charge of sewers and sanitation and recycling. Julie Kinsella from the Police Department. Pam Kraft, really done a lot of work. She's handled all the camping at the parks. Mr. Daryl Bisgard, his crew have done a lot of work to prep and will be doing quite a bit of work that day with all the barricading. Scott Vaughn has been involved. Scott's still there. He is. Yep. And I'll give a special mention to Melanie Carlson, who has done and redone the maps as many times as you can imagine to make sure they're to everyone's liking. So the city really stepped up. But I just want to say I feel a great sense of community pride right now because I've seen property owners and volunteers coming together, cleaning up, pulling weeds. I think the downtown looks about as nice as it's been ever looked since I've been here, 26 years, after the downtown facade restoration and all the kind of secondary work that was done that was maybe inspired by that. We have just really stepped up to make our town look great. The gazebo is freshly painted. There have been volunteers out this weekend and Saturday morning when it was 1,000 degrees. Just really showing their community spirit.
Well, I would add to that the Beautification Commission, because they have, they took care of the gazebo, and then also, if you haven't noticed, the Heritage Square also was re-landscaped this year very nicely, organized by Beautification. So you're absolutely right, the downtown looks better than it has in a long time.
Yep. So it's going to be a great event. I encourage people to come meet the Steampunk Pope and see some of the really weird decorations that are going to be out on Central Park. I was helping some of that. It's just some weird stuff. And good photo ops. Enjoy the music, enjoy the vendors, and maybe have a drink or two. And hopefully weather looks like it's going to be mid to low 80s, very low chance of rain. So it's just gearing up for, no pun intended, it's really a great event. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's made it great, and hopefully I'll be reporting afterwards that we broke even and maybe had a little something to give back to the community afterwards.
Great, it is. It's an honor to participate. It really is a lot of work, but we've had a great committee, great volunteers. You know, our Convention and Visitors Bureau also is to be commended as well, because they are the liaisons and really take the lead on this starting out, and that's, you know, with full city support. So really the infrastructure is in place for our community to really be a great host for this event, and it's almost an expectation. So we look forward to Thursday. Thank you for your report. Next project update, Melanie, please.
Well, we're surrounded by construction, literally.
Yes.
So outside of the City Hall construction, we've talked about the step one, addition to step one, and how we are still working on the sewer stuff, but getting very close to closing out these initial projects. The step one conveyance turned on the new pipes, for lack of a better term, last week, and the sewer's flowing into the plant through the new pipes. SM finished up some grading, and we'll look for that to get the grass to get established and getting that project closed out this fall. We talked about the addition to step one. Addition to step one is on the same timeline as step one, in that the funds need to be used by September 30th. So we'll be closing out those projects kind of regardless of where things are, and if there is some seeding left to be done, it'll just be under warranty, and the project will be closed out at that time. And so then on the treatment plant, they got that ready for it to accept waste and got the equipment turned on and working. They'll continue to start up different pieces of equipment, and we'll close out individual buildings as we get to that point. So right now they're working on the lab. They'll do a punch list for the lab, and then once those items are addressed, then that building is considered in our use and final, even though the full project won't be accepted for 9 months or so. Probably the most movement has been happening on Libertyville Road. Drish Construction has finished the north side construction, and we'll be moving to the south side shortly. Jason, if you can pull up that attachment. What I want to point out to the council is that we've been looking since the bids came in at an alternate route for the south side. We had originally started behind the buildings, then moved the sewer to the front of the buildings because of property owners. And then when the bids came in and we had a chance to have a clean set of eyes, for lack of a better term, on the project, the contractor said, well, what about this route? It will allow you to install the sewer shallower, but not change your service area. Great. So we've been working with the 3 property owners that are affected by this alternate route. They've given us verbal okay to move forward, and so we're working on drafting the easements. What we would do is offer to abandon the previous easement in exchange for giving the city this one. So hopefully we're looking at no compensation. The savings is not as much as we had hoped, but we think this also helps development in the area more than what the original plan had. So the proposed cost estimate is at a savings of $7,000. Doesn't need to come to City Council, but I wanted to let you guys know that this is the change that we're looking at. The easements will come to you when they're ready to be signed, but we might be really close to construction at that point. If you have any more questions about this and how we're changing it and what all it does to the development of the area, I can talk with you after the council meeting. And then back onto projects. At the Public Safety and Transportation meeting, we talked about the schedule for Highway 1. JCG is going to be our land acquisition agent for the Highway 1 project. We'll be needing some right-of-way and then some temporary construction easements. So we'd like to get them under contract at your next council meeting so that they can be available for a meeting mid-August with the public. The first meeting is going to be a lot like our public meetings that we had for step 1 and step 2, allowing for everyone to get some brief information about how we're going to be moving forward, but then allow the individual property owners to talk with JCG, anything that they want to say at the beginning before we start getting into design. And then we'll go through a preliminary design with the goal of bringing the council a recommendation from the engineers based off of level of service and different features, bring that to the council towards the end of October and make the decision on which type of intersection will be at Libertyville Road. From that point, then we'll get into more detailed design. We'll actually start acquiring the easements at that time. But that's the information that we want to be able to get out to the adjacent property owners. The number one question I get from people on this project is, what type of intersection are you going to do and how's that going to be decided? So we want to let people know this is what we're looking at and this is the council meeting that we're going to be making that decision so that people can stay informed on those decisions. That's what was discussed at public safety. Don't really need a motion, from the council as far as those meetings, just letting you know the plan on moving forward with all of this process. And then lastly, the projects wanted to point out is that Fillmore and Madison Water Main is finally coming to an end. They have put forth a lot of effort in the last couple days to meet the RAGBRAI deadline. There will still be a little bit of sidewalk on Fillmore that needs to be poured after RAGBRAI, but they'll be cleaning up Wednesday and getting all their equipment out of there. Madison looks good. There's no grass growing, obviously, but they did get everything cleaned up today. And then I do not have a start date, but likely before your next council meeting, the Stone Avenue and 8th Street water main replacement will begin. That project was awarded to DeLong Construction. And so I'm in the process of reviewing submittals. And since there's 3 weeks before your next council meeting, that project may start before then. We will get out information to the property owners once we do have a date set of that beginning. But we should see work on that this fall.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. Any questions for Melanie at this time? Not. Is there any other business before the council? Not entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Toohill,
Second.
second by Gandy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.